The critics argue this particular papyri fragment, Joseph Smith Book of Breathings is what the Egyptologists call it, the Book of Breathings numbers 10 and 11. The critics contend this is not the original of the Book of Abraham, it does not translate into the Book of Abraham, and therefore the Book of Abraham is false and Joseph Smith a false prophet. Hugh Nibley was not necessarily addressing that issue wholly in his book, The Message of the Joseph Smith Papyri. What he was doing was he was examining that particular fragment, the Book of Breathings. And he decided what I want to do is I want to understand, what does this thing say? What does it mean? Why would Joseph Smith think this is so valuable? So he analyzed it from the ancient Egyptian point of view. And he brought in all the vast corpus and array of literatures and materials, translation of the languages, into trying to understand what is the Egyptian religion here? What is the Egyptian mythology? What is their theology? What is their principal mode of meaning for life? And his entire message of the Joseph Smith Papyri is about the fragment that deals with what he called an Egyptian endowment. Of course, it wasn't the Book of Abraham. It didn't matter to him at that point. He said, well, that controversy can be left to others. I want to know, what does this thing mean, and what does it say, and is there any message in it? Wow, is there a message in it? Absolutely staggering. For those who don't like Hugh Nibley or don't like the church or whatever, for those who are disgruntled, for those who just don't care, it meant nothing to them. And so they said, because of their own shallow understanding and reading, they accused Hugh Nibley of just filling in gaps and stalling for time and all that jazz. And they said, well, didn't Hugh Nibley admit he was stalling for time? I've got some great letters from the Egyptologist Klaus Baer saying Nibley stalling for time is far more valuable scholarship than we've ever seen coming out of anything of the other American Egyptologists. This is sensational material. And Klaus Baer said that about Hugh Nibley's Improvement Era articles in 1968, 69, and 70. He was very impressed with Hugh Nibley. He was his own teacher, actually, so very interesting. When you read about the criticisms of Hugh Nibley from the critics, you don't get the same impression at all when you understand how Hugh really was seen in the world of scholarship with the actual Egyptologists who also translated the Joseph Smith Papyri. It's a very instructive lesson to never accept the conclusions of critics as the final say-so and the total overall picture and understanding of Hugh Nibley. Oh, heavens, no. No. I learned that lesson a long time ago. There is far and away more to this than critics have ever let us believe, and they are absolutely dead wrong in so much of this material. So this is one of the exciting things about studying Hugh Nibley himself. You have to get to the source. Absolutely. And because I have adapted that philosophy, in large part thanks to Nibley's own scholarship, I have gone even beyond Hugh Nibley, and I have gotten several of the sources he is using. And I can verify, quite frankly, well, people who also accuse Hugh Nibley, they say, well, he kind of fudges with his sources. He never quotes them accurately and all that. I say horse manure pucky dung to that. I have news for you. I can not only verify several hundreds of his sources and his use of them, but John Gee has said that this new edition of the Message of the Joseph Smith Papyri, he worked on checking and rechecking every single source for 17 years. There was an entire committee of students and graduate students and scholars who checked every single source for 100% accuracy in this new message of the Joseph Smith Papyri edition. And if they could not find the source, they did not include it. This baby is accurate. What he says these sources are saying is what these sources are saying. Now, I can personally verify that because I have gotten lots and lots of the materials myself. And I find it an astonishing, amazing thing that a man who went through so many sources was so highly accurate with them. Of course, there's going to be mistakes, yes, but when you consider the vast array of materials and his accuracy is up into the high 80s to 90% of quoting and utilizing and using, that's absolutely astonishing. There's no scholar that can get it perfect every time anyway. And you have to understand, once again, the era that Nibley was researching and writing in, the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. This was the typewriter era. How can a man put out such a prodigious output, steady, non-stop amount of materials on all of the scriptures, the Book of Mormon, the Pearl of Great Price, the New Testament, the Old Testament, the Doctrine and Covenants, ancient history, ancient rhetoric, ancient philosophy and politics, and on and on and on. And he did it by plunking away on a typewriter. He didn't have electronic keyboards in computers. So this is pretty impressive when you really stop and look at the total context. So I love Brother Nibley for his research and his efforts and his writings. I think it's a shame that there are so many people who do not understand his materials, but it's perfectly understandable as well. So I believe I will enjoy simplifying what this man had to say about Abraham. Now, Abraham, there's no question, Abraham was Hugh Nibley's hero. The man as well as the prophet. His analysis into Abraham was deeper in this particular patriarch than any other patriarch, and Nibley elaborated extensively on Adam and Enoch, and lesser so on Noah, and lesser so on Melchizedek. He didn't really jump into that a whole lot. But Enoch and Adam and Moses and Abraham, these were Hugh Nibley's favorite patriarchs to analyze and discuss and study. None of them got the attention that Abraham did, though. Thank goodness Hugh Nibley was here to elaborate such magnificent materials on such a powerful biblical figure. We must remember, from Father Abraham, the three great world religions claim to be descended from: Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. Father Abraham is the pivotal figure. And now with the acids of modernity, of which the great LDS scholar Lewis Midgley has been discussing things with Marty E. Martin, and